All right, this is my third segment of my Deathless run. I called this the Two Lord segment because I completed first two Lord Souls. Of course, don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole of lore in this game or anything, but it's one bequeathed portion of Gwen's soul, and then no, it's both bequeathed portions of Gwen's soul, I guess. We do Four Kings and Seath. Neither of whom have a Lord Soul, but had to have Lord Souls for game. I'm assuming, judging off of what I know of the lore, in the original draft of the game, the Four Kings had the Dark Soul. So they're humans, and that Seath had all of Gwen's soul because they were like politically aligned. Seath was in Londo. I don't know. And then I think, like every other Souls game, the lore either like is hard to follow in translation, or like was never the focus of the game, or is meant to be impressionistic or something. We have a mountain of souls here from the various tasks we completed shortly before getting here, so we need to level up. Of course, endurance and vitality. We're always doing endurance and vitality. Those are the things that make us less likely to die. The strength scaling on the halberd's pretty atrocious. The dexterity scaling basically doesn't exist. So putting points in those stats is not the most useful thing. Alright. So, what are we doing here? Well, other than being lost, this time for one very specific thing, which is we picked up Hovel's armor in on Orlando. And with Hovel's armor, what should happen in theory is we should not die. So we're going to use the power of Hovel's armor, and also we now have our fresh +5 halberd for ONS. We're going to grab the Crest of Artorias and go fight Sif. I'm healing back up to full here, because why not? I wanted Estus charges to fight Sif. I've started doing Deathless Sif practice. I think I did like 2 or 3 out of 30 runs. Like I'm sort of like a 10% success rate on that right now. So I'm getting a better feel for it. At this point in time, if I walked into Sif without heavy armor, I think it would have been quite likely I would die. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's much more relaxed to go in with armor that puts you comfortably out of one-shot range, allows you to resist staggers. So for no death, the pathing was we do Sif. After we go to Honor Londo, we have access to all the heavy armor sets there. Now I picked up Hovels. On a previous version of this route, I was using Black Iron. That's what I use in my casual playthroughs. So you can medium roll in it quite easily. This run I just grabbed Hovels, didn't want to sort of jump through all the hoops to get Black Iron. Didn't want to jump through all the hoops to get Stone, which of course I could grab Stone up here. Didn't want to buy Katarina for the other ones. Giants is of course very expensive. So there's a reason everyone uses Hovels. It's got a lot of poison, it's got a lot of physical damage resistance. That's what I used it for. Presumably everyone except me, but I was not aware that you could just run through here, talk to Alvina, and it would de-aggro the Forest Hunters. My understanding was you had to actually join the Covenant. Gosh, there were 2 runs I both practiced here, and I don't remember which one this was. One of them, I joined the Covenant and didn't walk back through, so I used a Homeward Bone. And the other one, I didn't join the Covenant and then did walk back through. Had to deal with all of the NPCs. So, we'll find out what happens after we fight Sif, but that's just a mechanic I'm getting used to. Obviously, you should either join the Covenant or Homeward Bone back, especially try not to get hit. Or just dodge. But for time, you definitely want to bone back. There's nothing too exciting here. I don't need the Enchanted Ember. There's a fairly large consumable soul over by the large wildcat NPCs. I don't think those are worth fighting on hitless, and they're definitely not worth fighting on deathless because I don't need any more souls than I have. I do grab the Hornet Ring here because I wanted to leave the Parry Gwen's threat alive, but realistically by now I've already spent enough souls once I go over the 30 soft cap and vitality. Really need to be investing endurance and strength already at this point to parry Gwen. So, put on full hovels. I think I can just barely fat roll this right now. I don't know, slow roll. But that'll be more than adequate for Seath, who doesn't hit that hard. It's a mid-game boss, and game setup. So we can just walk right through here. Pretty uninspiring fight to watch with heavy armor. Extremely good fight, Deathless. I didn't really. I even used the strat as I wanted on hobbles. And I always thought of Seath as like a freebie, and I was trying it in Hitless, and I could be the hardest boss in the run. I don't know. Just such a graceful, elegant design. Really nice for how Seath mechanically. And then now I do something very dumb. I run back through the forest without having joined the Covenant. So I even have extra homeward bones here. Just decide to run back. It is interesting watching on this and reviewing and reflecting on like how much efficiency is actually in there, right? Like I can make this run a lot easier, a lot more stable, a lot more reliable. But probably a lot more practice. This was like 5-6 days of runs or something. And then on the flip side, like how hard it is to not get hit ever, right? I do expect, I don't know. I had a hard time when I did Soul Level 1 in this game, and I have the VODs for it. They're not uploaded. It was like 24 hours game time, and I was save scrumming. So it was like probably well over 30 hours. That took a while. So right, that hit right there. All I had to do was do a different dialogue option. That wouldn't have happened. Now I think the reason I can't do that dialogue option is I already joined the Servants of Chaos Covenant, which I shouldn't have done. I mentioned I was just like tilted by thinking about Lordvessel mechanics while I was doing that. So yeah, like there's a lot of routing fixes here, and my routing there could have fixed that hit, or I could have homeward. Maybe I want to conserve homeward bones, I don't know. And I think it's also appropriate to use Dark Sign, especially in this case. I think if I Dark Sign fast enough, you do the thing where you Dark Sign back and then you get the souls after. I am carrying humanity, of course, but I don't have to do that. So what's going on right here is I'm thinking. I hadn't learned the exact routes through New Londo. There were like a few I was playing around with. And I'm pulling up some reference materials, which I don't know how I would show those, right? It's from a separate Ogre Base run. To sort of see the best way to get through New Londo. Now, historically, when I've done New Londo, the way I do it, so I run through, I do Ghost House, I get the key from Ingvard, I drop down to Ingvard, I flip the lever, and then usually what has happened is that from there I either walk or run or die or something, get back to fire length and restore my S discharges, and then I go into Four Kings with 10 S discharges. I'm not really planning on doing that this run. I think I can do it in a straight shot. I believe what I'm able to do successfully is I just run through New Londo, flip the lever, jump down into Four Kings. I'd never done that before. So I wanted to review how to do that. I wasn't exactly sure how to do that offhand. Let's talk a little bit about why we do Four Kings in the room here. So Four Kings is the first Lordvessel or Bequeathed Lordvessel we do. Why is that? Well, I wanted to do Bed of Chaos first. Bed of Chaos, you either go through Lost Izalath or you have 30 humanity to open the Chaos Servant sort of shortcut, which bypasses Demonic Fire Sage, which can hit you or kill you. Centipede Demon, which can hit you or kill you. I routed this with Centipede Demon. I did die to Centipede Demon once, and I was like, we're fixing this. There's no reason to risk dying to Centipede Demon. My impression of Centipede Demon is it's easy to get pushed in the lava. So I want to take out Centipede Demon. I usually skip Centipede Demon on casual playthroughs anyway. Okay. Then you have to run through the lava. Like, don't want to get clipped by sort of the undead dragons or anything. Then you have, okay, right, let's take all that out. Let's just run past the Titanite Demon on the. So that seemed really nice. I don't have 30 humanity yet. How do you get humanity? Well, usually you fight bosses. Okay, which bosses do we fight? I was like, well, I can fight Seath. I didn't want to fight Seath without a curse bite ring, because I know Seath applies curse. Seath applies curse. Don't really want to risk that, right? On a no-hit run, I'm not going to get hit, doesn't matter. On this run, really wanted to be running curse bite. Okay, so step 1, we run curse bite. Okay, well, curse bite is in New Londo. So we're going to go through New Londo anyway, so we should do 4 Kings before we do Seath. Like, okay, well then what about Nito, right? Maybe it would be really nice to have Mask of the Child for 4 Kings, for example. I would have liked to have Mask of the Child for 4 Kings. Well, the way I would like to do that is I would like to go down, defeat Nito, bring patches back to Firelink as a vendor, purchase the Mask of the Child, because it's only going to drop a third of the time. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to run through Tomb of the Giants. To run through Tomb of the Giants without dying, I really want to have the Sunlight Maggot on my head. The Sunlight Maggot is behind the exact shortcut I'm trying to open. So, okay, well, I want to do Nito after I do Bed of Chaos, and I want to do Seath after I do New Lawn. And I have to do Bed of Chaos after I do something else. So the only thing that I can possibly do first is New. Nothing I wanted to do before I got to New Londo. I would have liked Mask of the Child, but that's about it and doesn't really matter. And I have an Estus Flask +4 right now. I would have liked to come in here with a +6. But I was pretty confident in my ability to survive 4 Kings, which is not particularly challenging to do, especially with the level of gear I have, so I thought, no problem. Another thing to talk about with 4 Kings, and I think I will definitely do this hitless. I've been working on practicing there's 2 and 3 King strategies, right? So 4 Kings at the shared health pool, blah blah blah. You can damage enemies after they die. So with a full bar of stamina, this much stamina, I should be able to attack a king 3 times after it's died before it despawns. So I was going to attempt a 3 King strat. I believe I miss by 1. You can see the transient curses that I didn't loot over there. I pick up backup transient curses because I think my transient curse might time out, and then you take a lot more damage. Heavy armor is effective against ghosts while you have a transient curse on. While you don't have the transient curse on, you can either damage the ghosts, of course, conventionally. But also, my understanding is they ignore armor. So, right now I'm taking no damage. I can use this Jagged Ghost Blade even if I'm not cursed. Which is great soul level 1 weapon, by the way. Just going to keep popping transient curses. I'm just going to leave hovels on. This is going to make it impossible for me to die, even if I miss all of my attacks. I can seem to no-hit this segment about half the time by skipping all enemies. Pros and cons to that as well. I am getting souls right now. Those souls don't matter at this point in the run if you do this early in the run. You can stop there, and from there you can kill with archery or sorcery. Or presumably pyromancy. I don't know. I never tried it. Just running around Ghost House, trying to eliminate enough enemies I don't die. Not too worried about dying, but want to be careful. I think the thing that worries me the most is if enough of these are alive when I go up the ladder, get knocked down the ladder, get hit a bunch of times and take fall damage. I think that's pretty much the only way I can die in this segment. That or falling into the water. I've been pretty far away from. Oh, there's one other thing I want to do before going to Seath. Under the hitless rules, I think the exact quote is, nothing counts as a hit in Seath's first encounter. They don't require you to do Duke Skip, right? I sort of don't want to do Duke Skip. I don't have a desire to do that. Maybe I'll learn it for hitless. By the time you're doing hitless, it seems like you should be doing all this dumb stuff anyways. Putting on the ring here. I think we've all lost runs to forgetting that ring. I also wanted a rare Ring of Sacrifice. To me, that felt like the appropriate way to have the first Seath encounter, especially in a Deathless run. Deathless run, I kind of have to get hit, or you have to do Duke Skip, and like both of those feel pretty unintended. So, if I remember correctly, I grabbed the rare Ring of Sacrifice here. Going around to grab Curse Bite. I really want. Also want to kill that ghost. here, grab the Curse Bite Ring. The Curse Bite Ring being here is also a reason to route away from Great Hollow. I would, generally speaking, want to wear Bite Ring in Hollow and to route around depths. Generally speaking, you want to do that in depths. In a no death run like this, rather, if there weren't basilisks in the depths, I'd be pretty inclined to go in there. Evil Eye, to a bit of age. I frequently have low values on in this run. However, it's like not really safe to go there. If I, screw up a dodge and get cursed, it's like not really worth having a little more HP sustain, which only makes up for when I'm making mistakes getting hit. So over here, there's two things. There's a rare Ring of Sacrifice, and there's a Humanity. Mentioned I'm routing this way specifically because I need more Humanity, so of course I'm going to pick up the Humanity. My recollection is I routed my Humanity wrong, and I ended up with 4 excess Humanity. Good for me. I didn't need to do this. Probably should have thought that one through a little more, but nevertheless, it isn't, bad to have Humanity. I took off my armor for that jump. I'd never practiced the jump with armor on. I didn't want to mess with it. That's just an example of these like sort of slow safety strats we have sort of in the middle section of the that I haven't done as many reps on. I was really surprised when doing this Deathless how hard the beginning and ending were. Because in my casual playthrough, I really associated the middle of the game as being the core of the difficulty, specifically the Ornstein and Smog encounter. Like, I just remember that being essentially the only thing that felt difficult in the entire game. Doing Bed of Chaos as intended takes a lot of tries, but wasn't particularly hard. And I wasn't using Hovel or anything in that playthrough. It was really interesting when you have to do things right the first time, how the difficulty feels different, and you really strongly, in my impression, you feel it in the early game. You don't do any damage yet. Even just putting on Red Tear Stone Ring, I've heard other runners talk about the impact of Red Tear Stone Ring. I was shocked doing some of my hitless routing, how that's like Ring makes the game feel entirely different instantly. Here, once again, I'm reviewing my materials on how to jump down to 4 Kings, and then we're going to do 4 Kings. I'm going to try to do 3 Kings. I'm going to not keep track of my stamina correctly, so I'm going to screw up and do 1 hit on the 4th King. Feel bad about it, but that's okay. We're practicing. I also recently reviewed my Soul Level 1 kill of 4 Kings. 4 Kings was, for me, significantly more challenging than every non-Ornstein and Smough boss. Soul Level 1. Probably a little more difficult, though I did both variations of Ornstein and Smough, so I spent more time on the counter overall. Don't really have a good sense for how I'm going to know it. I've seen runs. I have a really hard time in 4 Kings, like not getting disoriented. Jump down here. There's a Dark Wraith I didn't know about that charges me. I just kill through it. So yeah, I'll do that differently in hitless, I guess. I guess I won't be wearing armor. I'll dodge when I land. I'll have Dark Wraith. Okay, I checked there to make sure I had the ring on. And here's an example how much I don't want to lose this run here when I haven't practiced. 1 in 10 times I do 4 Kings, I die here. So I just walked all the way down the stairs. It's so easy and it takes so little time to figure out a consistent drop strat here, and even like position yourself so you know where the first king is coming from. I got to this point in this run, realized I hadn't spent the time practicing this segment to do that, and just walked it all the way down. And here we go. So the 3 Kings tutorial I saw said you do 2 running attacks, 3 light attacks, and then you can do a jump attack into 2 lights, which kills and overkills the boss. That first attack there, I think I know how to avoid, but it is difficult to avoid in heavy. Okay, so I hit the boss 1 more time. The boss is a very low health. I heal while my stamina is increasing with a full stamina bar. I do a jump attack and 2 light attacks. That does about a third of the total 4 King's HP. I think I got hit twice there. That's an example of like the getting disoriented talk about. I can just tank this here. I'm hitless, I have to run further back. That's how I would avoid that. Okay. Got the boss low. Do the jump. Do 1 light and another light. That's another third. Celebrating a little early here, thinking I already have 3 King, and then I screw it up. That's okay. This is such an iconic armor set. I love. All the armor sets I use in this run are good. Elite, Knight, and Hovel. It's 3. That's 4. That's 5. Okay, and I come back, and what do? I get ready to jump attack. But what's my mistake? I didn't fill my full stamina bar first. I only have enough stamina for 1 light attack. Last one ends just a little late. So I have to hit the last King once, which is very sad. This would have been much cooler to have this run with 3 King. Especially because of this attack. For humanity. I said before this I thought I was at 24. I got 4 from this boss. I got 1 from I couldn't decide if I was going to talk to him there. 1 from Seath. I picked up 1 Mondo that I didn't need to pick up. And that's good. From here, I now have Curse Bite Ring, and I now have 30 humanity, so I can route either way. What I'm actually doing is I'm looking at the clock, seeing how much time I have left today. And I'm realizing that I would rather do Seath. In between the first 3 segments and the final segment, I did a lot of setup switching to using mouse firebombs instead of controller firebombs. So in the middle of this section, I did have my mouse and keyboard set up, and I wanted to use that for Bed of Chaos. So to continue this run, I just go to sleep. My notes said I needed 23 endurance to use full hovels plus Black Knight Halberd to still be able to slow roll Gwen. That's what I was doing there. I ultimately decided not to do the hovel route because I like medium roll better. And we'll see that when we get to Gwen. I'll talk about that a little more there. But I wanted at least 23 endurance to have those options open. But I did like a bunch of in between when this segment ends and when the next segment starts. I practiced all the intermediate bosses. So I'm doing interesting strats now. So tilted by that Firekeeper. What I was going to do there is I was going to run to Chamber the Princess, shoot Guinevere, and despawn this guard up here, which is the strategy I will use in Hitless, because it is too easy for this guard to hit me. There's no reason to risk it. This next section, after, what, I'm going to say 4 Kings, Sif, like Gwen if I screw up a parry. Don't place the Lordvessel. This section with the steel boars. I totally forgot I didn't name Lordvessel here. You remember at the end of segment 2, I was like, oh, I forgot to place the Lordvessel after the beginning of the next section. I do not. I still haven't placed the Lordvessel. I don't believe I ever did a run where I remembered to place the Lordvessel. I was even watching a speed run the other day, and someone went back to Firelink, and I was like, oh, that's a time loss, and then placed the Lordvessel. I have to place the Lordvessel. I decided after my experience running all the way to the Solaire bonfire, campfire, whatever they're called, bonfire, probably bonfires, it's faster to go through Sun's Fortress, so I go through Sun's Fortress. And I do something very dumb, which is if I was going to go through Sun's Fortress anyways, I should be buying green blossoms here from the Crestfallen Merchant, but I just spent all of my souls on stats that I don't really need. I also already have on the Rare Ring of Sacrifice. So. Silly. Have that icon by my name. Okay, so here we are. We're going to run a zillion miles because we... Try to figure out if I could jump down there. I was pretty sure I can't. The other place I can get a Rare Ring of Sacrifice, and again, I don't know that I will use that for any reason, or even if you Deathless run. You can get one from Ricard, who's right over on the ramparts here. But the New Londo one seemed to be closer to being on the route, especially since you weren't really supposed to go there anyways. You placed the Lordvessel. I guess apparently Frompt wanted Awoken there, but I didn't know that, so Frompt's mad at me later. Place the Lordvessel. And then... Oh, am I giving my souls? Oh yeah. Okay. I probably didn't mean to do that. Now we're gonna warp to Londo. You can see my menuing could use some work. That's okay. You're unlikely to get hit while menuing. Well, I guess that kind of menuing. Right about here, I realized I should have gone to Chamber of the Princess. It's too late. I am wondering if I should grab Crystal Halberd for any reason. I'll have, see, that's why you go to Chamber of the Princess. I have a decent number of Titanite chunks, and I'm pretty confident in my ability to no-hit Stray Demon. Or is it the one in Asylum? So I could potentially use a plus 15 Crystal Halberd if there's like strong benefits to doing that ever. I haven't seen a reason I would want to do that, but I'm keeping it in mind. So yeah, I have absolutely no idea how to get around this time. At least I don't like almost die here for no reason or anything. I think that was lethal, that hit. I guess I'm probably supposed to use an Alluring Skull or Archery there. Don't really want to do either of those things. I'll figure something out. I'll have to work on this segment. Isolation. I tried running through here once, I don't remember when, with like Slumbering Dragon Twin Ring plus Ring of Fog, and that didn't seem to help at all. Because there was thought I could do this after need. I'll need to look at how people handle this. That one, I think you can just run past, especially if you're not in heavy. Checking my rings, as one does. So there's a bunch of interesting pathing that goes on in here. So first of all, I don't do Duke skip. It's kind of whatever. I do grab the Firekeeper Soul in here. I don't know, I probably don't need that. At this point in the run, I'm starting already thinking about, you know, getting caught in a CC chain on Gwen, losing the run very late. So that's sort of the next thing that I think can kill me. So I am highly motivated to go back and grab a Firekeeper Soul. I was shocked how hard these enemies hit. I don't know if this is like the only legitimate game area in the game or something, but the damage in here is so much higher. This won't matter at all in hitless because you just can't get hit, right? But I wasn't at any risk of death. It was just like a significant increase in difficulty, especially from new. Like the Dark Wraiths don't even hit as hard. It's just these sort of like one-off things. I love this NPC. It's really adequately cool. I have Crystal Guardian. This beautiful, beautiful art. Got a lizard. I don't need lizards for any habits. Have my ring. Have Seath. I come in here, and I always make the same mistake, which is I leave on hovels, and then I don't take damage fast enough, and my curse bar fills up too quick. I'm not wearing curse. And of course, I wasn't thinking about how it doesn't matter if I get cursed or not. So that's why I take off my armor and try and die quickly while I get cursed. I could definitely see making a routing decision where you eat the curse there, then go through New Londo. But that would only be through Deathless, and I'm not going to change my Deathless strat. Put on Curse Bite now, so I remember. And I was planning on using heavy armor for this section because the like squid heads, they're called like Pasakas, I don't know, make me nervous. And of course, you put on Curse now, so it has time to go down. I'm going to be running around Duke's Archives forever, because I escape, get the Firekeeper Soul key, come back, get the Firekeeper Soul, run all the way back, then fight Seath. So this is just going to be an extended Duke's Archives sequence. This ended up being the longest segment because of that. And I think that's due to a lot of routing errors. That's due to having to like review jumps in New Londo that I just need to practice. It's due to wearing heavy armor the whole time and moving much more slowly. This did not need to be a slow section, and in fact it shouldn't have been a slow section. You see, even in heavy armor, this isn't the hardest thing in the world to know him. So this landing here with the snakes, which again I am thinking I'll probably try and skip with Duke Skip. I find targeting just miserable. Like I have a real hard time controlling where the halberd goes without locking on. And probably if you've played this game, it is impossible to lock on the enemies you want to lock on this balcony. I don't know why, it's probably something with line of sight. Or like how the ladder works. But look at this. I was pointed straight at the near enemy. I get hit. And I don't want to get hit here. I should be using Humanity there instead of Estus Celeste charges, but I'm not planning far enough ahead, right? Because I don't want to respawn all of these enemies when I come back and get them. So, and I only have 5 Estus charges. And I have 5 Estus charges for a reason. I did 4 Hall, where I took a bunch of damage. I took a bunch of damage from the like high damage late game enemy crystal things. And then on that balcony, I always take a lot of damage. So I'm using my Estus charges like effectively, but none of these are considerations for using them. I have a negative association with Duke's Archives because on my casual playthrough, this was the last Lordvessel I did. And it felt, I like had to go away for a weekend and come back and finish it. So I was like, it felt like I was almost done with the game. This to me felt thematically quite different from the rest of the game, even though like it fits in well, right? But like, I wasn't like looking forward to this section the way I was looking forward to like getting back to like Lordvessel, right? Which was so cool, right? Because you've seen it. And like Tomb of the Giants, which is so cool, right? So I wasn't looking forward to this section. It felt disjointed the way I did it. And then when you encounter Seath the first time and it like sends you over here, it just feels like the game is, to me, it felt like the game was being drawn out for no reason. And now I like it because I like these other sections from the other Souls games. 5 sections. It even kind of reminds me of Astral Clock Tower, Bloodborne. It's like one of the greatest sequences in any Souls game. But at the time, I didn't really appreciate it. And, you know, I do going back, but at the same time, you know, you only get to do a casual playthrough once. I didn't like it then. I just feel like I'll never really get to appreciate this because I, like, routed incorrectly the first time I played the game. Or, like, these stairs are so cool. They're just... I don't think you... How would you argue that this isn't, like, a thing to happen? They were definitely wasted on me the first time around. I was also extremely lost through here. I definitely know my way around now. So I don't have high confidence in my ability to no-hit this segment because of the balcony where you like beat the key or flip the switch, or I don't remember what you do up there, right? And then also because these channelers, specifically when I'm on the rotating stairway, I have a hard time. And it's easier with light armor, but like that hit me. And I shouldn't be getting hit by that stuff, so I'll have to think about that. On this ladder here, I see a lot of no-hit runners are about getting hit by this arch. I have never gotten hit by that arch. So I'm planning on doing exactly this when I'm no-hit. But yeah, maybe I'll lose a run there. I don't know. I don't understand how that could go wrong. The geometry doesn't make sense that you would get hit there to me. I don't even know which one of these chests the key is in, as you can see here. I get the wrong one on the first try. And then I think I pulled this lever for no reason. And now I'm thinking, do I rest? I have 13 humanity, so I don't. I run all the way back and grab the fire cube result. This is just such a cool mechanic. Seath is a pretty interesting character. I don't know how well I feel like I get to know Seath. I had a hard time, and still do, understanding like the thematic connection between like these archives and then the Crystal Caves. The Crystal Caves are like unbelievably cool, even if they like, I think they feel very bad your first time through them, which is it's okay. It's a Souls game, right? I think the crystals have to do with like sorcery and like Logan and all this stuff. I feel like I actually got to know Seath better from Dark Souls, sort of see the world that Seath created, right? Yeah, this has always been a narratively confusing section, even though it's like very rich. It's almost certainly unfinished, right, with the way the music works. But such a like haunting section of the game. Okay, running section. I mean, it's been a running section for a while. Huge running section. We run back, we bonfire. If I remember correctly, we then go to Firelink, grab the 10 there. I couldn't in theory be kindling fires, right? But I mentioned Kennedy routing's like a real thing, so not going to do that. Not going to kindle bonfires. I hold humanity to be able to kindle for Nito, which is a relic of earlier runs. By the time I'm doing this run, that humanity stacking is no longer necessary. I don't need essentially to heal on Nito at all. I haven't no-hit Nito yet, but I've 1 or 2 hit Nito. So I'm not kindling anything until I open the Chaos Servant route. Which means if I ever want 10 Estus charges instead of 5, I just go back to Firelink. Running through here. Right around here, I start to wonder if I'm going to get hit by a channeler. I'm not good at dodging channelers. So I put on the survive getting hit by the channelers gear. Run up here. Instantly get hit by a channeler. Very much a get good angle. Like, just don't get hit. You don't have to change your gear and use the humanity and all this stuff all the time if you just don't get hit by channel. Once again, I'm convinced it's impossible to get hit by that archer if you're just fast. And let's go fill up on Estus. We're not going to respawn any enemies we care about now. We sort of finished that extended sequence. And remember, this sequence began essentially with resting at Firelink, warping to on Orlando. We then had to go place the vessel, right? But like, we're 43 minutes into this segment or something, and we like ran through New Londo once to go Four Kings, ran through Darkroot once to go Sif, and have just been running around Duke's Archives. This is so slow. There's 3 bosses, and this should be a 45-minute segment, but it's close to an hour. I've got to improve this, but I literally didn't practice this at all. I never died on this segment, so I never changed the run. That's not true. I fell in Crystal Cave once. Unlike my first run through where I just did this route where I wasn't resetting. I died in Crystal Cave. Whatever. Did I forget? Did I forget to rest at Firekeeper? Firelink? Oh, right. Yeah, I have a Firekeeper soul. So let's get to Estus +5. Where do we? It's +6. No, it's +5 because we still have a Fair Lady. Duke's Archives. Just such a sluggish pace as I'm trying not to lose the run. And then I'm gonna get to Bed of Chaos and just like The only way to do that is fast. You just run in, throw bombs. The only way to do Nito is fast, right? Just, you drop from Firelink, bonk pinwheel. That's it. The run from Firelink to Bed of Chaos is pretty far, I guess. Alright, Crystal Cave. So, this is the place where you can definitely lose runs. And why is it easy to lose runs here? You lose runs because of the gimmick. You lose track of where the invisible paths are, you die instantly. But if you've played this game for any appreciable amount of time, you know where the invisible paths are. And a lot of it's just lining up your camera and knowing where to... I'm still humanity routing here, so... If you see my inventory, right, I'm sitting on 12 humanity. I have 21. Grab that humanity. I grabbed that humanity because I'm used to grabbing that humanity for when I needed to kindle for Nito. Okay. Run across this. Then right up here is the only time I died on this segment, was I accidentally dodged off the side here. So, very aggressively dodge forward. Like, it looks like I'm slipping there too. I don't know. That looked kind of dicey. Okay, and then here, you line up your camera with that sort of outcropping there. Then you just run and you don't think about it. Just did an enormous running section that you don't want to reset. But on Hovel, because I'm going to fight these, they're called shells or something. If you're like fast, you run past all of these and none of them come in Seath. If you're safe, you fight them all here. I think on no hit I go for fast. Just seems too likely that one of these hits me. And it seems too unlikely I can't just nuke Seath really quickly. So they're easy enough individually. But when two aggro at the same time, or if you accidentally do a jump attack when you mean to do a light attack or heavy attack or whatever I was trying, and you just get hit. Yeah, you can't jump attack these. You have to stagger them. One humanity's plenty. That one in the back didn't aggro, so got it. Now we go in, kill Seath, and we realize we missed one of these. So we have to no-hit it because we're out of humanity. No problem. First bite ring is on. I use all of these here for curse resistance. And using them for curse resistance here is like why I think it actually makes sense to do this. I've seen much better strats that use a bow to do this. I'll probably figure that out sometime. So I guess Seath takes bonus damage right here. And also bonus damage from aiming. So probably the way to do this to avoid getting hit. I'm getting hit here, right? I don't have any analysis of why I'm getting hit. Probably the way to do this is Crystal Halberd with Lightning Pine. Or Golden Pine. I don't remember which one it's called. And, you know, Red Tearstone. Possibly Power Within. Hit for 2,000 damage. Do like 4 or 5 hits with 1 stamina bar. End the fight instantly. That's probably technique there. Every, like, run I've seen of this, Seath just dies instantly when we're hitting. I think that's the best way to do it. Now, usually this segment would end here. But I actually had a few minutes left. So what I do is I actually do something a little goofy. I'm going to run down to Fair Lady and unlock the shortcut, and then I'm just going to warp back to Firelink. And the reason I do this is my understanding of the hitless rules. Now I've read them again. You can always quit out after resting at a bonfire. When I was doing this run, I was only aware that you could quit out in Firelink. Respawn items. stuff. So I know I didn't have time for Bed of Chaos. I know I did have a few minutes. So I wanted to do the Blighttown run real quick. And so this is the second time going down to Blighttown. Like the 8th time that I've forgotten to do this elevator. So we'll just head down to Blighttown real quick. It's really interesting, just like seeing this in sequence and like thinking through how I feel about this game, like how New Londo Ruins feels like Dark Souls to me, and how forget the Duke's Archives exists. Right? I don't forget the Crystal Caves. I think like very cool. Certainly, on my casual playthrough, I did. Right, so I was sort of like looking forward to that for some time. I was doing no-hit practice earlier with an unupgraded halberd. I couldn't kill these in 2 hits, and I got hit. It is so much harder to get through there if you do take 3 hits. Still doing slow Blighttown. Wow, just like looking out over Blighttown, you have like, I think there are like the arc trees, like whatever the waterways are. Just an incredible area. Like, look at those root systems. I should refresh on what the Blighttown lore is, because like this is such like a narratively rich area. Because this like the dregs of Lordvessel society, like it's so close to New Londo, right? But is it only close to New Londo because of like how time is flowing together? I don't think the geography was affected by time flowing together when in the era of Souls 1. Souls 3. There's so much storytelling here, and I feel like I resonate with the storytelling a lot more than like some of the other parts. Here we have our famous swamp. It is not a Souls lake without a poison swamp. Is there one in Bloodborne? I don't know. The Lake of Rot in Elden Ring. It's like just a beautiful thing. It's just something that had to be there. I will say, as I'm praising Blighttown, I do think Blighttown is right for Dark Souls 1. I thought the treatment of like the Poison Swamp, Souls and its own name, I thought that was excellent, and I actually very much prefer the game of Demon Souls. Like, I think, to me, Blighttown feels terrible to play, excellent to experience, and I think it can be great to play and great to it's really done in Demons. Everything in Dark Souls 2 is terrible. Realizing I don't actually need to cleanse this poison, I can just heal once, then drop down. It's the biggest quality of life increase in the game, was discovering I could just fall there. And here's the worst quality of life in the game. I'd already lit this fire, but I couldn't hustle to it. And that wraps us up for now. Got one segment left. We have to face Bed of Chaos. We have to face Pinwheel and Nito, but who cares about Pinwheel? I think Pinwheel might eat no-hit runs, but not no-death runs. That's and then face Gwen, Lord of Cinder. I couldn't interact with the fire. Back to Firelink for a legal quit out. My understanding of the rules at the time. And we quit out.